how can we best balance the subjective and objective perspectives on the reality in which we live?
This question was addressed, at least in part, by Thomas Troward back in the late 1800s. He had an essay that he had written called Entering into the Spirit of It. We think we're living in a one-dimensional world, just a world of our everyday life. But we're really living all the time in at least two dimensions. One is this objective world around us, which is the world that we can see, hear, smell, feel. We can touch it, we can see it. That's our objective world. We can measure things, we can predict how things are going to behave. We can analyze our objective world. That's the basis of science. Handling the complexity of the objective world around us, the world that we can see, the outside of everything. But there's another world that we're living in at the same time. And it's very obvious with yourself. You have your outer self, but you also have an inner self that's subjective. And the subjective world is another world, another dimension that everyone is aware of, but it usually is referring to us. It's not referring to the world around us, but everything in the world, whether it's inside your body or whether it's the inside of the objective world. If you look at a tree, you see the objective tree. You could count the number of limbs, you could count the number of leaves, you could measure the size of the tree, estimate its age, you could key it out, find out what species it is, you could find out about its life cycle and how soon it starts to produce fruit. It doesn't matter, and it's endless. You can take measurements of everything about that tree. But really, what's the nature of the tree? What's the nature of this living organism? How does it get food? How does it respond to sunlight? The objective world and the subjective world start to intermingle, and pretty soon you have something about the essence of the tree. What is it about the life of the tree that makes it a tree and not a grasshopper? How are those things different? What do they have in common? What is it in the inside of all things that's the same? Because infinite intelligence has put its signature on the individuality of everything, but there are also things that everything has in common. Everything is vibrating, everything's made of atoms and molecules. Everything has a signature vibration that's a sum of the vibrations of all of the particles that make up that thing, whether it's a person or a tree or a body of water, whatever, a cloud, whatever it happens to be. We identify things objectively, but we know things subjectively. And there's a big difference between knowing the measurements and predictions of it objectively and knowing the essence of something subjectively. And the subjective part of it is really the core essence that's part of the opening, part of the connection between you, the person, you, the physical person, the body that you're in, you, the mind that's inhabiting the body, the soul that's inhabiting the body, and the spirit of infinite intelligence of source energy are all connected. You can look at things both ways. I would say we look at things objectively most of the time, but it's when we look at things subjectively that we really gain an understanding of how the universe was created, how it's put together, and what's really important in life, in death, in every part of your existence. Thanks for being with us today. My goal is to give you value with every lesson. If you would like us to notify you every time a new lesson is ready, click subscribe below, then turn on notification. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks.